Ian, we got a Patreon.
We do. Patreon.com/CU podcast. You go, you pay a little money and you get things such as the full video podcast, a monthly hangout, writing. You also get access perhaps to the pin club if that's what you're
if you want to get an enamel pin for for a good rate.
And we do bonus bits.
Yes, we do.
We record extra podcast just for you before we start the main podcast every week.
This was the first ever 50-50 split on this Patreon poll. We've had 50-50 splits where that I downloaded the data and they were not real 50-50 splits. They just rounded probably up or down. 50-50 split. Ian, I don't know what to do. In first place tie, it's like the Olympics. You both get gold medals.
Yes.
Is grading or reselling worse for video game collecting? 50%. And in 50%, NES games we would like to see an official re-release of. So we have to decide which one are we going to talk about.
So there's a handful. We're gonna talk about. I think we're gonna do the video games this week, and then an automatic pass.
We might do an auto winner next week because I don't know. We've never been in a situation before.
Yeah, we'll just do an auto winner for next week since we already kind of talked about collecting and stuff like that last week with Pat's Confrontation. We figured we could just kind of we'll do the games one. We'll do the games one. And then we'll do the collecting one next week.
With the help of a certain NES guidebook available at ultimatenintendo.com. NES games we would like to see an official re-release of. So this goes back a few years. I remember having phone conversations with Josh from Limited Run, like early 2018.
Sure.
Right after I moved to Castle Country. We talked about Limited Run should probably get into doing licensed re-releases. And we always said that we both decided that Metal Storm would be the one to try. Because you want to talk about games that are hard to find, that are worth a lot of money on the secondary market, but are actually fun games that people would want to play.
Right.
So that's why we said Metal Storm should be the test one if Limited Run ever got around to doing that. And lo and behold, they didn't do it, but Retrobit
did.
chose Metal Storm as the first sort of NES game that would be licensed to re-release.
No, they did two before that.
Oh, they did?
They did Holy Diver for the NES.
That never came out here, though.
No, but I'm just saying it was still a re-release. And then they did R-Type, and they did Super R-Type and R-Type 3 in one cartridge.
Okay, I'm talking about NES games, North America, that never came out. It was the first one.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they did that one, and they have continued to do many of them.
Sure.
Like we just talked about the Battletoads Double Dragon one. And it's great because what they're doing is they're picking games that have gotten expensive.
Sure.
In the collecting market. But they're picking good ones. They're being careful about what they pick. These are all games that people want to play that have been expensive. So they haven't, re-released Supercars, which I like to bring up at all times.
Oh, for N64?
No, for Nintendo, NES.
Oh, that's Supercars.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're picking good stuff. So we were thinking, what are some games that we would like to see get a re-release like that, whether it's through Retrobit, Limited Run. There's some other places that are doing it too. I Am 8-Bit does it. So, yeah. The first one that comes to mind for me is Gunnak, which I believe I gave 5 out of 5.
Yes, you rewrote it because the original review did not do it justice.
No, it did not.
It was not a good review. One of the reasons why we had a bunch of reviews rewritten for the third print run. 5 stars. It's a rare game. You legitimately cannot find this game easily.
Nope.
I don't think I saw a copy at Retropalooza. I'm not sure. I didn't look as much, but I didn't see one in passing at Portland. I don't think a Gunnak.
No, neither did I. Granted, I haven't paid attention to NES games at conventions in years now.
And it's weird that because it's not like a super late one. It says 1991, not super late. And it is legitimately the best shooter on the console, probably.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Obviously has some flicker issues, but it's unique. It's quirky. It's got a good weapon system. I believe Compile developed it. And it's one that more people should play. And these re-releases are generally not super expensive.
Sure.
Limited Run, at least, and Retrobit, I know their prices are usually just about $60.
Yeah, sure.
50, I think, was what Limited Run did. 40 or 50 was what they did for Shantae, the Game Boy Color Shantae.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the prices are reasonable, and I think that would get the game into a lot more people's hands. Another one I would love to see would be Shatterhand and the Power Blade series. Those are the other ones that come to my mind like very quickly. Games that have gotten more expensive over time that are actually fun to play that I think people would enjoy.
I love Shatterhand. I think I might have done the Shatterhand review. That was never a super expensive one, at least back in the day.
I think it's like $60 now.
That used to be like probably a $20 game, something
game,
like that,
yeah.
in that range. Shatterhand, what I think I reviewed that one. I think I reviewed all three of those. I mean, I gave Shatterhand 4.5 stars.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Another 1991 one that it's uncommon. It's
a
not
really
rare.
neat gimmick.
Absolutely, you get your little robot, little assistants, and you can pair them together.
Yeah, you
That's
pick
cool
up
about
different Greek letters, and
Sure.
depending on the combinations, you get different assistant robots.
And then you said, what was the other one?
Power Blade and Power Blade 2.
Power Blade. Power Blade 1, I gave 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Uncommon.
Great
Another
game.
1991 one. What was going on in 91? I guess because the Super Nintendo was coming out, they weren't going to produce as much. But no, it was earlier in 91. That's a Natsume developed game, title published. Super fun game. I think I actually like it better than the sequel. Because the sequel is a little bit more linear, if I remember.
It is. I like the first one better, but the sequel is still a good game, and that one's genuinely expensive at this point.
I deducted it a full star. I gave it 3.5 stars, which is still a good review. But yes, I did not like Power Blade. Power Blade 2 was always the one that was worth a ton of money.
Yes.
Power Blade was like a Shatterhand. Well, it's $20, whatever, $25. If I looked up Power Blade 2 now, I would probably expect it to be $700.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It used to be one that was like $300, $400. Power Blade 2, $750 or best offer, and that's a ripped up label. What?
Yeah, I should not have gotten rid of my copy when I did.
Well, you don't know it's going to
No, I know.
explode up. We thought, I mean, this stuff all peaked 6 years ago at first. Let's see what it's actually selling at. But that's one I knew that was going to be. That's like the Bonk's Adventure sort of thing, where it's always going to be more money because it's rare. I have it as rare. It is a rare game. You don't really see that one too often. And that one came out in '92. So I guess these are all title published ones we're talking about, like for the most part. Some of these
Gunneck wasn't, and Shatterhand wasn't.
Okay, I'm thinking about more of the later title ones we can get
sure.
into.
Like if you wanted, I knew you were going to bring those up.
Yes.
Like Panic Restaurant.
Panic Restaurant should absolutely get a licensed re-release. Absolutely.
So should Little Samson.
Little Samson is a big one, and I'm almost shocked that they haven't had one yet for Little Samson.
Well,
I'm kinda shocked.
we're also just not mentioning, at least for these ones, that these are title releases, so maybe it's just not easy to get the title licenses.
Well, the title published, I don't know if it reverts back to the developer, Natsume, or not. I have no idea how the rights work with that. Looks like Power Blade 2 sold $750, $800. Again, are they paid for? $800. So $800. There's multiple ones. There's several ones that say $750, $860. So that's shocking to me.
Yeah.
There used to be only, at least loose cartridge, a handful of games that would reach close to $1,000. You had like your Bonk's Adventure, you had your Dinosaur Peak, you had your Stadium Events, you had like your unlicensed stuff.
By the time I got out of it, I think I sold most of my shit in 2016, 2015, and I mean, there's very, very little up there. I mean, the games that we're talking about now being $500, $600, $700, I was getting $100, $150 for.
Yeah,
I think my Power Blade 2 with a ripped label, I think I got $125 for it.
Sure. So yeah, definitely Panic Restaurant. Like I said, Little Samson is just ripe for the picking because that's probably, based upon coverage, the most famous of the higher end NES games that are like legitimately fun. I mean,
absolutely.
Norm did a review of that.
A good game.
Yes,
a good game.
I'm like double checking because I would think like that would have got a re-release by now.
No, it has not.
On that,
absolutely not.
Of course, the GOAT, Mr. Gimmick, when that's going to happen, a Mr. Gimmick license re-release.
Licensed re-release, yeah.
Yes.
That is in the works.
On a cartridge would be huge to get an actual cartridge. I don't think we know if there's cartridge ones actually coming out, or obviously no digital re-release. A cartridge re-release would be nice to see.
Sure.
For sure. But either way, the fact that it's getting released, I guess we don't need a cartridge necessarily, but Mr. Gimmick's getting its day in the sun.
Yes.
Any other high-end ones? Bonk's Adventure you don't need because it's not as good as a TurboGrafx one. It's good, but the TurboGrafx one plays a little bit better.
I don't like the Nintendo. For me, it's the colors. Everything just kind of feels a little muted.
It's just the controls just seem a little bit less smooth. Like not enough to I still get a good review. How about a Mighty Final Fight? That would be an interesting one.
That would be great. actually.
Very uncommon game. Good game. I give it 4.5 stars on that. What is that going for? That one used to be like, you know, $100 game, like back in the day, $80 game. You know, it was one of those like the tier before Little Samson where it jumps up, you know, several $100 on that. It was like a Gargoyle's Quest. It used to be. Hey,
Sure.
maybe Gargoyle's Quest. That's another Capcom one.
Yeah, that's a good game.
These are all
too.
games that are
That's
that are
Gargoyle's
very
Quest
uncommon.
2. Yeah.
Mighty Final Fight. What does that even go for nowadays? $300 or best offer. $295 or best offer. So it seems like the games have tripled in price from what they used to be.
I believe.
3 years ago. Like every game has tripled in price. No, I don't think it's sustainable. Personally, I think we're going to see a downturn about that.
Well, that's what we were seeing, I think, before the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Sure.
What about something like Little Ninja Brothers? You think that would be worth it? That one's a little
It's
uncommon.
unique, but I don't know that it would
Get the interest.
Yeah.
That's a culture one. I give it 4.5 stars. A very interesting game. I'm just sort of just going through. I'm trying to think of the expensive games that would actually garner interest. Yeah, Gargoyle's Quest 2 for sure. And then we're going to start to run out of popular ones, at least that have been covered online. Stuff like the Dinosaur Peak and Jetsons. You have the licensing issues on those. They're good games. But like, I don't know if you have that level of interest like you do with the Little Samson.
No, I don't think so. I honestly don't think the Flintstones games are very fun.
It's tough.
I've never played the Jetsons one.
You ever played Jetsons?
No, never played Jetsons. So yeah, I mean,
I think
those are more in they're expensive because they're rare, but I don't think anyone's really clamoring to play them.
I think you'll see Panic Restaurant for sure. I think that if you can get one of these title published games, Panic Restaurant has always been. I did review it back in the day with my friend Allison at the time. Rare game, 4.5 stars. One of those later ones, October '92, developed by Disco and EIM. Not sure what else they did there. Yeah, I think that's what you're looking at here. Like those handful of games, you're not going to see. You're not going to see like the Panesian games. Who the hell knows who has the rights to those? That's
right.
That's just trash. You're not going to see a lot of the Color Dreams games, I don't think, because like they don't play. 90% of them don't play well. There's like maybe like 3 or 4 of those Color Dreams games that are probably worth playing. To be honest,
sure. The strategy for all of these companies right now seems to be pick the rare stuff that's fun to play, and you're gonna instantly sell a ton of them.
I got one that I think would be a borderline one. I just turned to Maniac Mansion. Would be an interesting case study to do an adventure game re-release. That's gone up too a little bit, not a lot, but it's gone up. In the box it's gone up. The card's still not that much money.
Yeah,
$20. That's just an interesting one, just because I don't know. Maybe not. Maniac Mansion. Well, it's Lucasfilm's ones. We got the Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back re-releases from Limited Run.
Right.
We got that one. We'll see. All right, those are some good picks. I feel like we're missing one, but I think we always go to like those later games that are like 4-star and above affairs that are hard to find.
Yeah.
And then there's actually not a lot of the stuff like the Guardian Legend. It's not expensive enough, I think, to garner a re-release or known enough, probably.
It's a really good game. I think that one's borderline because it never got expensive.
All the Koei games are quality, but no one ever played them.
Sure.
Those are 4-star games, 4.5-star games. Like no one really, there's no one clamoring for Genghis Khan or Nobunaga's Ambition or La Emperor, but they weren't producing high quantity, some of those at all. Uncharted Waters wasn't.
I know Uncharted Waters is generally rare.
It's
not rare. Is it rare?
It's close.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That and like Gemfire or like they couldn't have made that many of them.
No, Gemfire. Those were the ones that were. Well, Gemfire was on other systems, so yeah, they were just pumping out like a paltry amount of them. I think.
I have Gemfire as very uncommon. Sure. Almost none of those Koei games are common except for like Nobunaga's Ambition 1, maybe Genghis Khan. Sure. Other than that, it's tough to find those. Genghis Khan we have uncommon, but yeah. I don't think there was at that point in time. Once you get into the '90s, a few years, it's probably those people would you're right, go to Genesis to play stuff like that, or they'd be on PC maybe versus the NES. Like who has their old clunky NES or want to play like these like French strategy games? You know, it just doesn't seem like it would be a viable audience, and it wasn't obviously. So well, there you go. If you want to learn more about some of these hard to find games, there's a certain guidebook here that you can learn about them.